In today's show, we discuss why do Brits say these peculiar phrases?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tyre Bowyer. Tyre, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you're keeping safe and well.
Yeah, what the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh? Anyway, we've got to look on the sunny side up.
You haven't said hello to the audience. Come on.
Oh yeah, I was going to say we have to look at the sunny side up because nowadays with the audience, I'm happy to share with them the pearls of wisdom from Dr. Isaiah Henry.
Oh, already? No.
You've only got two left. There's this one and one more. So I think.
Hooray! We've done his whole catalogue.
That's not good enough. That's no way to treat Dr. Isaiah Henry in any respect. Anyway, he said, and listen to this. The warrior who counts his arrows need not fear the rainstorm clouds. The warrior who counts his arrows need not fear the rainstorm clouds. Wow.
What does that mean? I just don't get it. It makes no sense. It really
And you know, when you've counted your arrows, when you know where you're at, when you do you know there's a very similar a very similar aphorism in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That never made sense most of the time.
Sorry? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
It didn't, did it? It was done on purpose to be quiet.
No, do you remember you got to know where your towel is at all times?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. It's the same similar sort of thing. A man who knows where his towel is a together kind of man. And a warrior who has counted his arrows is a very together kind of warrior, and he need not fear the unexpected. You know, when the rainstorm clouds.
He could have said that. Why didn't he say that?
He did. The man,
he put it poetically like this. He's referring to the weather. I mean, what's that got to do with it? Whether you got arrows, haven't got arrows, you got 100 of them. Irrelevant. His comparisons do not work, in my opinion. Mate, come on. You and I could come up with a couple ourselves that's a better quality than that. Unless your translation sucks. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's possible, but I've looked at it several times, and I think this is what it was. I think this is accurate enough.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's move on with the topic for today. And this one today is a little bit more light-hearted because what we're going to discuss is why do British people, Brits, say these particular phrases? Now, you raised this one as a bit of a jovial episode, and it will be because we in Britain have got a weird way of pronouncing things, and anybody who even speaks English but is away from our shores will probably be scratching their heads at some of the things we British people say, especially our American cousins across the pond. They will be completely baffled by some of the things we're going to count here. So Tyre, as this was your selection for today's topic, do you want to kick some off as an example?
Actually, we owe this show to my wife.
Oh, okay.
Because we were in the car, and I said, Gordon Bennett. And she was like, what? And I said, Gordon Bennett. She said, what's it got to do with
Gordon?
Who's Gordon Bennett, and why are you Gordon Bennett, and all this sort of thing. And I said, well, Gordon Bennett was an Arsenal goalkeeper when I was young. And for some reason that I don't understand, but I'm going to look it up when we get home, we say Gordon Bennett when it's a shock or an expression of shock or exasperation. Oh, and it was something to do with someone who was driving badly in front of me. And I went, oh, Gordon Bennett. So I said that. Anyway, I got home and I looked it up because I promised to. I looked it up, and first of all, there was no Arsenal goalkeeper called Gordon Bennett. So I don't know where the heck I got that idea from. That was the first thing. And secondly, that's not why we say Gordon Bennett. Now, In prepping for this show, I thought I'm going to put Tony on the spot here, just for the fun of it.
You know
And
what? I've done poor research for this, I have to say. So you're going to put me on the spot and
I'm going to
embarrass
put you on the
me.
spot because I'm going to
You
offer
are.
you three alternatives.
Okay.
Oh yeah, alternatives. Three alternatives, and you tell me which one you think is the truth.
Okay.
Gordon Bennett is a Cockney corruption of golden bonnet,
Right.
referring to the expensive hats worn by nobility, which often caused public outrage back
Okay.
in the Victorian. That's number one. The second Victorian use was an exclamation originally used by chimney sweeps to signal their boss, Gordon, when suit was about to fall. So they say, Gordon Bennett, right?
Okay.
And the other is again, Victorian-ish, but this is in America, a wealthy American newspaper magnate who was known for his outrageous behavior when he came across to Britain. And by the way, he got affianced to a woman here engaged to a woman here in Britain. And during the party, I think announcing their engagement, he urinated into the fireplace in front of everyone.
Oh,
And his name
okay.
was James Gordon Bennett Jr.
I'm not sure. I like the chimney sweep one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that one, the chimney sweep.
Yeah.
Very good. You're wrong.
Oh, don't tell me the American guy.
The American guy, newspaper magnate. Yeah, so it became Gordon Bennett became an expression of shock or outrage because of someone's behavior.
Oh, I see.
Mm,
Okay, I did not know that one. I have to
there you
say.
go. There you go.
I mean, I've been not really looking at the history of where they came from. So
Mm-hmm.
you've done probably a bit more research on this show than me. I've just been finding quite a lot of them, and how many there are ridiculous. Where they come from, that's the bit I'm struggling with. I didn't have a lot of success there, but
Okay.
I mean, some of them are single words that you know so well because you use the term yourself. Naff off. You say
Yeah,
that really.
naff. Yeah. Oh, naff off. I mean, look, you got to say like a posh person. You can't just say naff off. You have to go, oh, naff off. I have looked that word up before, by the way.
But if you say the word naff, if something is naff,
Something's just naff.
yeah, it's no good. It's tacky,
Yeah,
it's
it's
uncool,
mm-hmm.
whatever. But if you add the off to it, it changes the meaning.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got thrown out of. I got banned from you from Facebook for naff off once. And
Really?
I wrote to them and I said to them, I don't know what you think it is, but it's not
Clearly,
that
they
bad.
don't know. No, it's not at all.
So,
Not
but they
at
didn't
all.
reinstate me. I had to serve my ban.
Really?
Yeah, it's just yeah.
See, that's unusual because normally the swear word algorithms and things like that are set, and they're set for different dialects. So
Mm,
I'm surprised that they thought that naff was something bad because it isn't. Naff is uncool. It's not. It's tacky. Something. God, that's
exactly.
naff. That looks
Yeah.
rubbish. What you're wearing is naff. So if you're not wearing cool clothes, but as you say, if you put naff off, the meaning is different. It says go
Well, I put
away
naff off, by the
politely.
way.
Yeah,
Well, I
politely.
used naff off.
Yes, you do. You use a
No, I
stronger
used
one.
it in Facebook. I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So it was not. So it was, you know, go away in a very
It was to say
unpleasant,
go
strong.
away, but
Mm.
but it's not as strong as the next word that I'm going to share, which again you use. So this is a
Sorry,
term.
but may I interrupt you? Sorry about
Yeah.
sorry. Actually, it would appear to be that NAF is from Polari. Now, do you know what Polari is?
No.
Polari is the secret slang used by gay men in the theaters in England. Now, I've heard of it because it was something that Kenneth Williams discussed.
Really?
And for anybody who knows Kenneth Williams, he was a famous actor from the
British
sort
actor,
of
wasn't he? Yeah.
British actor, 60s, 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s with
Yeah,
the Carry On
70s as
crew.
well. Carry on. Yeah, yeah.
And quite a few of them in the Carry On crowd, they were gay.
Yeah.
And Polari was, remember in those days, it could be dangerous to be
Of
discovered
course.
to be homosexual. So they had their own secret language, so to speak, which quite a lot of it filtered into wider society. And it stands for, not available for fun, but a
Ah.
different kind of fun, if you, not available
Oh,
for fun.
right.
Mm.
Not available for fun off.
Yes.
But
So go
why
away. Go away. Leave me away. Leave
yeah,
me
but
alone.
even that, when you explain it that way, doesn't sound too dreadful. It's not like,
Well, when I say fun, the word actually
yeah,
is
I
not
know
fun,
it's not that word. Yeah. Um, I didn't
and
realise
it
that.
happens to coincide with Romani, which is the gypsy people, I guess. They got a Romani word "naf," meaning nothing or insignificant. So maybe it's just one of those funny words where two words, because people heard "naf"
Yeah.
and the Polari, they didn't know what it was, and then they heard the gypsy thing "naf," which was insignificant, nothing. Oh, it's just "naf." Do you see how they could have really mixed it up? So you had
Yeah, of
"naf" off,
course.
and you had
Yeah.
"naf." So I think that's probably what happened there.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, a less polite way you could have used, which is another one of your terms, is sod off.
I don't actually use that often. I don't
Not
really
that
like it.
often. You have used it only once or twice. Compared to naff off, you've used that more. But
Yes,
sod
it's to
off,
me it's stronger.
yes,
Mm.
yes. But it is still a way of saying go away without resorting to actual swear words.
Yes,
And our
yes.
American cousins might not know that term, but it's not really that harsh. If someone said, "Oh, will you sod off?" It's
Mm.
almost like go away, but strongly,
Very
isn't it?
strong, very strong.
Yeah.
I think it's quite rude. I wouldn't say it in front of. I was going to say Her Majesty, but she's gone now. I wouldn't say in front of His Majesty the King.
No, no, no. None of these you would say that
Now I might say
really.
no. I might say naff off.
Um,
There's nothing wrong with naff off, in my opinion. It's so soft. It's so gentle. It's
it
just,
is softer than sod off.
oh,
I tell
naff
you that.
off. Just not to His Majesty,
No,
obviously,
no, no.
but to someone else. Yeah, I could say naff, but I'd never say sod off in front of His Majesty. No,
No, no, because that's more you're annoyed now.
yes, and
Yeah,
it's
that's more. Look,
cruder
just
sort of
go away,
language.
will you? Instead of
Yes.
saying just that way, it's like sod off,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying it with a bit more vigor, with more a tone that's a stronger tone, and that
And
then
for people
adds
who want to swear
power.
like Tayo, don't forget to say oink. So you say, "Oh, naff off, oink." That's
Oh dear.
it's really, the person's a peasant. This is a naff off peasant. It's fantastic.
If this is a lesson to anybody who's listening, is actually not to follow any of these that we're sharing today. So you can add it to your vocabulary, but not to use. Don't use it in public places. Certainly don't use it online. And just be aware of it. So when you hear those terms on social media, you know Teo is the instigator. There you go. But the one that you like to use the most, which I don't like to use, but you do, and every time you put it in our show, we have to bleep it out, is
Oh,
your favourite
what?
bollocks. Oh dear. That is Tayo's favourite word. And I don't like to use it because now we have to bleep that out. And it actually means nonsense or can be used as expletive. You can actually link that term to a phrase. So you are speaking
A
beep. I
load,
won't do it. Yeah.
a load. But by the way, actually, I think it's a mis. I think it's a mispronunciation of bullocks, cows, male cows, and specifically the testicles.
No, but the word is a male testicle. So if you say it with the O, it's still male testicle. So
Yeah,
it's
but
still
I'm saying I think it
testicles.
from bullocks with the BU.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I haven't checked it out. I'm just saying that I think it was bullocks, and then people just mispronounced it, and then it just came to represent the testicles of a male of a bull. So it's just bull's testicles, basically. So I don't know why that should be so offensive to people. And this I don't actually find it that offensive. That's why I like saying it, because
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
think it's
It's
that
not.
offensive.
Well, it's like the term.
But it's very strong.
It's like the term. It's sort of uproar in America, but over here we don't think anything of it when we use the word bloody.
Mm.
You know, are you bloody being serious?
Mm.
But in
Well, would you say that in
America,
front of His Majesty? I wouldn't.
No. But in common language, it's used, isn't it? Whereas, I mean, you could say, when something's arrived, for about bloody time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's echoing a frustrated tone, isn't it? It's almost that.
I don't use
term
the
is-
word actually.
No, I don't
use the
tend
word.
to use it. I don't
Because
tend to
I use a
use it.
stronger word. I either use a much stronger word, which you can't even repeat, or I don't say anything at all. So I've never if it's something that's about time,
Yeah.
But then again, I keep getting myself into trouble for being sort of very expressive.
Well,
I thought I might add some
yeah. Go on.
modern stuff in this. So because of my students, I've heard a couple of things from my students. So deadting.
Detting.
Dead.
Dead.
Ting, a dead thing.
Detting.
What's a dead thing?
I have no idea.
Okay, option number 1, it is UK slang from Jamaican patois, meaning someone or something is boring, irrelevant, or undesirable. Ah, man, that's a dead thing.
I see.
I don't know if I can do the accent. I probably shouldn't have tried.
I see.
Or
Okay.
it's a medieval term for expired bread. Dead thing given to prisoners.
Oh, okay. Stale bread.
Stale bread. Or it's an 18th century naval phrase describing a cannon that had misfired and was rendered useless. It's a dead thing.
Okay.
So
That would be the one that makes more sense, and it's just been rephrased and repackaged and used elsewhere. But that's the same with a lot of these terms. They're used in a particular example, and someone's picked it up and said it elsewhere. I mean, the phrase "barking up the wrong tree," for instance, that's a British phrase. It means that you're taking the wrong course of action. You're misguided. You're ending up.
Yeah, but don't go for one of yours. Give me the answer to mine first.
I don't know what yours is.
No, what do you think it is? Is it the 18th century naval phrase? Is it the medieval term?
I think it's more the medieval term.
For well, you're wrong.
Oh, again, I'm not doing very well here.
It is actually UK slang from Jamaican patois.
Oh, it is then.
I thought I'd give it away when I said it. Hey, it's a dead thing now, or whatever,
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So it is. It's a definite one.
It just means dull, unattractive, unimpressive.
Okay.
So, yeah, some of our audience might be thinking, yeah, this episode's a dead thing. This episode's a dead thing.
I mean, it's
I'll give you one that you. So you were talking about. We're going to listen to your thing on the barking up the wrong tree.
Well,
Then I'll give you one that you'll get. So I don't want you to feel too badly. So I'm going to give you a layup, an easy one.
Easy one. Okay.
Yeah.
The barking up the wrong tree one.
Mm-hmm.
Was apparently a number of years ago watching a dog where it was chasing an animal. And the animal went up one tree and the dog stayed at another, barking, and it was used there, saying, oh, God, that dog is completely mistaken. And that's now used as a phrase. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're wrong, you're mistaken, you're misguided, your course of action is incorrect. And it's permeated into business.
I've actually seen a dog do that, and it was hilarious. It was chasing a squirrel. Squirrel went up a tree. I don't know how this dog missed it because it was like blooming obvious. And it went to the next tree and was barking. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man?
It sems to happen quite a lot.
You're pointing to the dog. No, and the dog is looking at you. What's your problem? What's your, I don't know you from anywhere, man. Naff off.
If it was my dogs, I mean, they'd be barking in the wrong forest. They're completely clueless.
Okay,
dear.
let me give you this easy one.
Go on then.
I'm sure you've probably already know it, or you must have researched it. Blimey. Oh,
Blimey.
blimey. Blimey.
Well, blimey is supposed to be surprising, isn't it? Gosh, I'm
Hmm.
surprised. Or
Yes.
wow, that's interesting.
Blimey, that's
Blimey.
unexpected. Who
Yeah.
did that? Yes, blimey, correct. But is it a 19th century nickname for foggy London weather derived from blurry mist? Or is it a contraction of God blind me used as an exclamation? Or is it short for Blimey O'Reilly, a fictional Irish sailor whose exaggerated tales astonish pubgoers?
I reckon it's going to be the second one, the God one.
God blind me.
Yes.
You're correct.
Oh wow, I actually got that one right.
Blimey, you're correct.
Blimey, I'm correct. Yes, yes. I'm just wondering because some of the things we've
My,
used today.
my grandma
Oh, go on.
used to always say, my grandma, which is my stepfather's mother, and I said she was an Edwardian, proper Edwardian lady. She always used to say, "No, don't say that because you're actually asking God to blind you." So she
Well,
was very against anybody saying
using
blimey.
that
Yeah, using that. Yeah.
well, I
using that
suppose
term.
if that is the meaning of it, then
That is the meaning of it, yeah.
But it's, do you understand the meaning of it? The meaning of it is not that, it's your interpretation of it. It's like you hearing somebody say something in German and use it because you like the sound, but not know the meaning. It's the meaning that's the key, not the sound. So yeah, that's part and parcel of that. But okay, I'm wondering, is this show going to be an adult show, or do we have to bleep everything out of it to make it a standard show? Because we've used some language that's deemed colourful by some software and certainly some platforms. So maybe this show will have to go out as an adult show, which is a shame because I think it's quite fun.
Yeah, it is quite fun, but if I can use my favorite word, then I say let's go for it.
Okay. I mean, there's a few. Where did the throwing a spanner in the works come from?
Army, usually.
Yes.
Is it the army?
Yes.
Army.
Well done. So yeah, throwing a spanner in the works, for those who aren't familiar with that term, it's causing a disruption. There's a problem or plan that's not going to plan. Something has happened, and it was in the army where tools were thrown in to stop tanks from operating, and it threw a spanner in the works of the mechanism to stop it working. So yes, so that's again used when there's a disruption, something's occurred, and it's thrown a spanner in the works unexpectedly.
Yep. What about the word window? Where do you think that came from?
Window?
Was it? Wow, this is.
But
window.
window's not a term that's not used elsewhere. Everybody uses that term. Window?
Yeah, but where did it come from? I'm doing words that have got a strange, unexpected origin.
Oh, I see. Rather than just the weird language that some Brits use, because I thought we were okay. We'll deviate. Let's do it then. Where's window come from then? I've no idea.
It is a 14th century Italian architectural term for a wine door, where servants pass drinks to guests. A wine door.
Okay.
Or a Shakespearean term for a character's hidden emotions, the window to the soul, because Shakespeare coined so many blooming words. Or it's from Old Norse, Vindagua or something, I can't pronounce that, meaning wind eye. Wind eye.
Wind eye. No, you know what? I like the wine one. I think that would be one.
The Italian one.
For. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, but you're wrong.
Oh, go on then, Shakespeare. Is it Shakespeare?
No.
Oh no!
No, it's the Old Norse meaning
Really?
wind eye. It's the wind eye of the house or the dwelling. That lets the wind come in and the smoke go out and that sort of thing. It's the wind eye.
That's interesting.
Window. Yeah.
One that you also use, and you've used it on our show when we've recorded in the past, when you've turned up and you're knackered. That's the word. You've turned up and you're knackered.
Totally knackered, man.
You're always
up
knackered.
north, by the way.
You what?
Yeah. Up north, in the north of northern England.
Yeah.
That's a very rude word. It's not so rude in the south. But I have friends. Don't forget, I went to school, uni in Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of my friends from that part of the country, they wouldn't find that funny. You don't say that, especially in front of women, because it's still got some of these like old time manners where you don't swear in front of women, which I don't know, in the 21st century, it's kind of weird. But yeah, you have to be. They don't like it up there. They don't like the word knackered.
But you use it again all the time. Every time we come to do the show, oh, I'm knackered, man.
When you're knackered, you're knackered, man. What's
tired, exhausted. He's knackered. And every time we do the show, before we actually start recording, he goes, oh, God, I'm knackered, man. That could be to do because Tayo replies to me at stupid o'clock, like 2 a.m, and then again at like 5. It's like, when do you sleep, dude? When do you sleep? No wonder you're knackered.
Maybe this is why I get so frustrated with other people when I send them a message and the answer's like, what are you doing, man? Because, if I'm screaming down I'm going too far. I don't do it whilst I'm screaming down the highway.
Okay.
But as soon as I get to where I'm...
highway, look, that's another term.
Yeah. Screaming down the highway.
That is actually Tayo doing it in practice, because screaming down the highway was in reference to cars traveling really, really fast and they're overtaking everybody and they're making the screaming sound. I mean, it's not just the British term, that's a term used elsewhere, but that epitomizes Tayo's driving, because on one episode of our show, Tayo, we actually heard him do it. It wasn't on our show, but he phoned me and I could hear him. He was coming past my road at breakneck speed.
Past your village.
It was past my village doing this incredible speed that you could hear him, and he had me on the phone and I could hear him do this speed and that term screaming down the highway epitomizes Tayo. And now if you look it up in an English dictionary, it says refer to Tayo Boya. I'm pretty sure it does.
What I told you, so I'm going to be driving past your village and I will blow my horn as I go past. So I suppose you were expecting to be a gentlemanly toot toot. And I thought it would be more fun if I went screaming past and I kept my hand on the horn all the way.
Yeah, it was all the way down.
Essentially, just said, and then you said, your wife was like, what the hell?
What was that? I said, yep, that was Tayo.
Where's that guy's from? And of course I forgot it was like a village. I was like, oh, it's not only Tony's house, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe I should have done that. Sorry, guys. It was hilarious though.
Everybody
heard, screaming down the highway. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Pencil.
Pencil?
Pencil. Yes.
Okay,
I'll probably
that's
give
not
it away
really
saying
a
here's
British
one for
term, is it? That's where it's coming from. Okay, pencil.
That's where it's coming from.
To describe a pencil, yeah?
Yeah, pencil, yes.
Okay. No
does it come from a 16th century nickname for a short, overly serious court scribe? Or does it come from the Latin pencillus, which in itself is the root of the word penis, meaning little tail? Or is it a misheard term for penswill, used by medieval monks copying texts?
I would probably go with the monks one.
That's unfortunate because you'd be wrong.
Oh,
it comes from the Latin pencillus.
Oh, really?
And the original meaning of the word of penis was actually tail. Okay. Originally, and it then came to mean his adventure. I don't know how you go from tail to the front. How do you go from the back end to the front end? It's weird.
Well,
That's weird.
going along those same lines, there is a term called for men actually, and it's a bit derogatory,
Hmm.
where you say he's got no lead in his pencil.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yes, of course. Oh yes. I didn't think of that. That's true.
Yeah,
Absolutely right. No lead in his pencil.
no lead in his pencil, which,
Well
for
pointed
those
out.
who've not heard of that term, means that a man is not able to produce offspring. In other words, he can't have children. But
Mm.
it's a bit of a derogatory term for other
Yeah, don't
men.
go around
No, don't
accusing people of not
start
having lead in
saying
their
that.
pencil.
But that's a
Yeah, I think
term
it
to.
also could mean that someone who puts up a show but can't back it up.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, less so, I think. But
Mm.
yes, I've heard that used in that context as well, for sure.
Here's one for you,
Go
and
on.
it really surprised me. Salary. Do you know where it comes from? Salary, the word salary.
Something to do with salt.
Well done.
Yeah, because you
It
used to
is,
pay people in salt, didn't
they used
you?
to pay people in salt. And that is why we say, oh, that man or that woman, whoever, she is worth her salt.
Worth her
That's why,
salt.
that's where we get it from. Worth her salt.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it suddenly
Yeah.
made sense that, oh, why do we say worth her salt? This is the reason why.
Okay.
Good one.
Here's one. The phrase. What's it? What's it exactly? I can't remember off the top of my head. Um, Something to do with. Oh yeah, seeking the limelight.
Oh, I know this one, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Seeking the
Seeking
limelight.
the limelight is from the stage where it refers to actors and actresses who hog they hog the or they try to hog the stage. They try to be the ones everyone looks at and talks to. Because back in those days, stage lighting was performed by setting lights to lime. And so if you move towards the limelight, if you move forward, maybe out of position, you move forward towards the limelight, you were hogging the limelight.
Yeah, it was correct. Yeah, it was a chemical based
Mm-hmm.
light that was created with lime. Well, it wasn't lime, but it created a lime light. So
A
it was the
limelight,
light. Yeah, it was a
green.
dull greeny color, and it was mixing two chemicals together that produced this light.
I see.
And and they used to put them near the stage so people could see the performers. And in order to
Mm-hmm.
be front and center, they would go in the limelight so that the people
Mm.
could see them performing. And but the limelight only lasted whilst the chemicals, stopped burning out. So it's like a phosphorus type response where you mix these together and they created this light which was limey coloured. So yeah, that's a term, a British term, but now used extensively in the theatre and worldwide, really, seeking
Yeah.
the limelight, which is quite a good
Yeah,
one.
very good. Yep.
What about
Countries.
what's that?
I'm going to give you two side by side because they're very funny. You probably know them. A
Okay,
lot of people know them. Iceland. It means
Iceland.
land of ice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Before I explain why it's funny, Greenland, which means green land.
Land. Yeah.
Now they're quite close to one another, but what makes it really funny is this: Greenland
Yeah.
isn't green. It was misnamed on purpose by Eric the Red to attract settlers.
Oh,
It's
really?
actually icy and horrible.
Yes,
Iceland, on the other hand, is lovely and green.
it is.
And it was named Iceland to keep oinks out and keep them away from the place. So you got these two countries diametrically opposed to what their names are actually saying. An easy way to remember it is don't go there thinking that's what you're going to find there. Go to Greenland if you want ice, and go to Iceland if you want green.
Yes,
Can you
indeed.
imagine? It's hilarious.
Indeed.
Just misleading people who actually left the safety of their towns and villages, traveled across the sea, and then got there like, oh, what the hell is this? Just not fair.
Indeed. What about the phrase "not my cup of tea"?
I
Now,
don't know.
right, that one, not my cup of tea. It's something that is not to one's liking or preference.
Yeah, I know what it means, but I don't know where it comes from.
Not my cup of tea. It was, I believe it was supposed to be in India where it originated, when British colonial India. I don't know how true this is, but my source was a little weak. And like the tea. But yeah, and the tea was brought, and the person said, oh, no, it's not my cup of tea. Whose tea is it then? Oh, it's not mine, because I don't like that tea. And that's where the term was heard by non-British speakers at the time, and understood the term not my cup of tea as meaning I don't like it, not my preference.
Oh, okay. It sounds plausible. I'm not sure that it's... Although it sounds plausible, it doesn't really strike me as being, why did it catch on? I don't know. Anyway, I'll live with it, but here's one for you. I don't hear people saying it any longer. I used to when I was young, mostly Americans, if not entirely Americans. Jumping Jehoshaphat, especially in cartoons. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I heard it when I was growing up.
Yeah, people don't say it any longer, but there was a time in the cartoons would jumping Jehoshaphat. And you think, what's all this about? Anyway, it could mean it's a misinterpretation of a Hebrew phrase, meaning hurry up, Joseph.
Okay.
There's misinterpretation or mishearing. Or it could be the name of an acrobat in 18th century England whose signature move involved leaping over barrels.
Okay.
Or it could be a phrase invoking the biblical king Jehoshaphat and used to avoid swearing.
The third one, biblical king.
Well done. Absolutely right.
That was a guess.
Biblical king. A lot of these, it turns out that a lot of these words we say, crikey, for example, these were words that we substituted so we wouldn't swear, we wouldn't blaspheme. Not from the... So crikey, for example, is Christ. It's from Christ. So just a crikey, Christ. But when people were religious, they didn't want to blaspheme, so they wouldn't have said it, so they used crikey instead. Jumping Jehoshaphat. There was what was the other one? Well, like I said already, blind me, God blind me. You don't want to say that. So, and zounds. Have you heard zounds? I like saying that with my students.
No, not heard of that.
Oh, Zounds, zounds. It's a contraction of God's wounds.
Okay.
And obviously you say zounds. But it's understood nowadays to be an old-fashioned exclamation of surprise or indignation. And certainly, if you think of the early Hollywood films where people were dueling with swords and things, some at some point would say zounds, but actually, for me, it's like the number. If you have thousands and thousands of people, you have zounds of people. But I think that's just me. I don't think it's actually regular English. So there we go. Zounds.
Okay. Oh, I've got one. Storm in a teacup.
That's
Americans say
one.
tempest in a teapot. That's what they say, which is interesting. American English, that's how they say it. But we say a storm in a teacup, which obviously means making a big deal out of something trivial. But where did it come from?
I don't know. Interesting. Where
did it come from? I'll put you a couple here. Did it come from India, where there was a situation where people were creating, when they bang in the table and all the tea went up in the air, and the person talked calmly and said, "You're just creating a storm in a teacup"? Or did it date back earlier than that to the early 1st century in Greece, where he was stirring up a wave in a bowl, which was then deemed as you're creating disturbance, but it's not a big disturbance? Or was it from America, where there was a traveller who noticed people getting irate, and when they got angry, they would splash about in water to show their anger. And it was almost like, well, that's not a big deal, is it? So it was phrased with a storm in a teacup because it was a small issue.
I'm not going to go with the American one. Sounds ludicrous. We'll go with between the Greek one. And what was the first one again? The Indian one. Indian and Greece. Well, we've already had the Indians in on the action with their so-called "that's not my cup of tea." And the Greeks.
They're the biggest producer of tea in the world. So
I'm just wondering where the hell the Greeks got tea from, to be honest, ancient Greece. So I'm going to have to go with the Indians.
You're wrong. It actually did stem from the Greece one. It was just changed. It was actually exitibus flectus in simpulo in Greek, and it was stirring up waves in a small bowl, and it's subsequently morphed into a storm in a teacup. And that bit, the morphing, could have happened where tea is drunk a lot, which happens to be India. But so there was a little bit of link there, although it didn't originate there. So that's an interesting one.
This is the problem with logic, just because it's logical doesn't mean it's right.
No, not at all, not at all.
Quite annoying. So allow it, man. Just allow it. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay. Allow it doesn't mean what you think it means because it's modern slang.
Okay.
Allow it. I've told you what it means. I can't question you. That's annoying. It's modern slang. It means, believe it or not, to stop doing something. Stop it. So when you say to somebody allow it, you're not saying allow, you're saying leave it alone. Leave it alone. Allow it be, let it be.
Yeah.
Allow it. And that's what the younglings are saying now. And it's from Jamaican English again. So it's leave it alone, let it happen. Allow it.
Okay. I've got some others that are interesting, but we know what they are. They're just terms that we use. Burning the candle at both ends. That's just...
Yeah, but where does it come from? It's more interesting than...
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know where that one comes from, but it could be down to people just working and just, literally they're not getting any downtime, and it's quite a nice term. But where does this one come from? Letting the cat out of the bag.
Well, I hesitate to speculate because isn't that when you're going to drown a cat and you let it out of the bag? And you're going to... I don't know, why do people drown cats? And, I don't know. Well, I hope I don't know where it comes from, but I know that people used to put cats in bags throw them into the...
No, what that term actually means, obviously, is to reveal a secret. And this is actually due to medieval marketplaces. Because what used to happen is that some unscrupulous merchants would be selling pigs. But to cheat, someone put a dead cat in the bag and tried to sell it as a pig, because a pig was more valuable. You could eat the pig, you can't eat the cat. And so they would try and sell bags which contained a dead pig, but in fact it was a cat. And so merchants, because they were tied, merchants would buy them assuming they were pigs, take them home, open them up, and it's a cat in there rather than a pig, and they'd paid for a pig.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And so the term is let the cat out the bag. So now they were saying they had to look in the bag before they didn't want the bags being sealed, so that they could see that it's a piglet in there rather than a cat, because they were of equal size, and obviously cats they could get off the street, but piglets were more valuable. Hence, that's where that comes from. So when you let out a secret, you're letting the cat out the bag, unintentionally letting out a secret, and that's what that term means.
Good one. That was a good one. Hey, I got some funny ones. I got some fun ones. Not this or that. Just for fun, okay?
Okay.
As a bit of a linguistic episode. So, do you know the difference between examine and peruse?
Examine is to look at something. The term, you mean? Examine something, you're checking
Yes.
it out. But peruse is more. You're just taking a brief look. You're not really doing anything too serious. You're just taking a glance almost.
Examine means to judge an item carefully. Peruse is where Paddington Bear comes from. I told you it was a bit of fun. And in that same vein, whilst I've got your attention, beware what bees wear. Bespoke, where bees come from. Isn't it?
Oh dear.
Three. Let's so just very quickly. Twist. It's a Yorkshire card game.
Twist is a Yorkshire card.
And trump is
Okay.
Yorkshire for steak from the back of a cow.
Okay, but that's actually rump. Yeah.
Yeah, trump, yes. And then trust is iron erosion in Yorkshire, isn't it? Trust.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You'll never hear those three words again and not think, the men from Yorkshire. Now, explaining that to non-British people is going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Trust. I love trust, by the way.
The term cost arm and a leg. Obviously, do you know
Now
what it
you got me there
means?
because I used to know where that came from. It costs an arm and a leg. It costs too much. And where did it come from? This has had to do with actually hacking off actual arms and legs.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously, the term, what it means now, if you say, "Oh my goodness me, that cost an arm and a leg," means
Too much.
it's very expensive,
expensive.
too much. And it actually came from military because it was a heavy toll of warfare. So soldiers who were severely injured, losing both arms and legs in battle, it symbolised the high cost of war, both in terms of human life and money. Because obviously they needed to replace that soldier, but obviously they needed to care for him as well post-war, because you couldn't just leave him, you had to look after them. And so it was a really expensive, tragic item. So, cost an arm and a leg. So when they lost an arm and a leg, it's an ongoing cost for life while that soldier's still alive. So yeah, it's quite
Never
a
mind all
harrowing
that. Don't
one.
forget, they didn't have anesthesia in those days either.
No.
That must have been uncomfortable, to say the least.
Indeed. But that's. Have you got any more?
Oh, I've got loads. Here's one, and I don't. Okay, so this is more Australian. I'm sure you've heard it, and I've heard it, but anyway, Bloody Nora.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've used it myself many times.
Okay, well, who's Nora? Is Nora actually not Nora at all, but Napoleon, and it actually means Bloody Napoleon, and it was used during the Napoleonic Wars?
Okay.
Or is it the nickname of the infamous 19th century pub brawler Nora Fitzpatrick, who was known for violent outbursts? Or is it an exaggerated response to a woman named Nora as a euphemism for swearing?
The second one.
The nickname of the
Yeah.
infamous for Nora Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No.
Oh.
No. It's an exaggerated response to a woman named Nora.
Oh,
Do you know,
okay.
we're going to have, because there's one that is developed now, which is when you call a woman a Karen.
Yes.
And as I explained to
That's
my
a
wife,
familiar. Well, it's a more American term. It's not
yes,
used as much.
but I
over
explained to
here,
my wife
but
that it's actually,
certainly-
she said, in talking about this episode, she was saying, well, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to mention Karen. And she said, who's Karen anyway? I said, Karen's an actual woman.
Yes.
Karen is an actual woman, or is, I suppose she's still alive, who was caught on camera being unreasonable.
Totally.
And it
unreasonable.
went viral.
Oh. It was not good.
And she was being seriously unreasonable.
screaming at somebody. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
that's right. And now, if your name is Karen, you're in trouble because if you show the slightest bit of temper in public, Karen. So I suppose there must have been a Nora, just some woman, Nora, who was equally tempestuous.
Okay.
Bloody Nora, yes, there we go.
Interesting. Right. Here's one. Don't judge a book by its cover.
That just makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. When you think about it, I've had this discussion before with someone. When you think about it, a book cover is designed so that you can judge the blooming book by the cover. That's what it's there for. Otherwise, it'll just be plain brown paper.
Well,
It doesn't make any sense.
the point is, don't judge a book by its cover. What the term means, I don't know whether it's used outside of the UK, but certainly used quite extensively here, is don't judge something based on its appearance alone, because you may discover that there's more to it. And this originated in the 19th century, where the term was used where people were judging characters from where it actually stemmed from, you see a man for yourself before you call him good or bad. That's what it actually stemmed from, because people were passing judgment on others having not seen or met them, although that still happens today, of course. But that's where it originated from. And so the term is don't judge them until you can't call them good or bad until you've seen them for yourself. You've spoken to them, you've got to know them. Then you can make that distinction. And the book was a good analogy. Don't judge a book by its cover, because the cover can tell you one thing and you can open up the book and the book is pants. So, yeah, that's where it came from, and it's a 19th century origin.
Well, I still argue that the book covers are actually meant to tell you how to judge the book and whether you want to buy it or not. But I suppose it's like looking at Netflix. If you're scrolling for a film in Netflix, do you find that the thumbnail has got absolutely nothing to do with the film, with the content?
That's the whole point. The thumbnail on all stuff, even on YouTube and other platforms, a thumbnail is to draw you in. And that's why the book cover
on
does.
Netflix, it's the exact opposite. They put a couple of people in there, and for example, it says, I'm being silly here, but for example, it says James Bond, but the thumbnail shows two unknown characters, and you're thinking, well, that doesn't really help. I'm not going to watch that. So James Bond is too well known for that, but I'm talking about other content.
Okay.
You can't judge anything, but it doesn't matter what Netflix says is what the Netflix thumbnail says. You got to do your research, which is just go online. Is this film worth watching? No, I didn't think so, and you're gone. End of story. So, where do you think this word comes from, and where does the word clue come from? Do you know?
Clue. So give us a clue. So give us a bit of information. Give us
Yes,
a bit of
give us a
input.
clue.
Give us
Yes,
a bit
give
of
us a clue.
not stimulation, of some information. Where does it come from? And it's a British term.
Well, we use it all the time. You a clue? Of course, we use the word clue.
But did it originate in Britain? It doesn't sound.
Oh
British.
no, it's not. Doesn't no.
There you go. I don't know.
It comes from the Greek word for a ball of yarn.
A ball of yarn.
A ball of yarn. Do you know why we use it as something to help solving the mystery?
Go on.
Because Theseus used the ball of yarn when he went into the Minotaur's labyrinth. And he used the clue, do you see, to find his way back out of the labyrinth.
Ah.
And that's why we say a clue. Give us a clue.
Okay, that's interesting.
Give us a ball of yarn so that we can find our way back, even if it's a metaphorical ball of yarn.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes, I like that one.
Here's a term again that's used mostly in the UK, although it is more spread wide, is someone who's over the moon.
Oh, I don't know where that comes from.
Someone who is over the moon.
Mm.
Now, what does that mean, first off?
The cow jumped over the moon.
The car.
And the little boy laughed to see such fun as the dish ran away with a
The
spoon.
cow jumped over the moon.
You remember? Well, I'm an English teacher, so there you go. There's a little bit of nursery rhymes for you.
Yeah, it actually originates from the nursery rhyme, and it's linked to that. So the cow jumped over the moon, meaning happiness. You know, you're happy, so you're over the moon.
Yes.
Please, yay! I'm ecstatic. I'm jumping over the moon. But yeah, from the nursery rhyme, which was a long, long time ago. It was. I'm trying to get the date of it here. Actually,
Was it Edward Lear? Because he wrote a few really good rhymes.
I've got it here actually, but it didn't say the date. But it's certainly an old one because it's been used many, many times.
Oh, yes.
16th century. Wow. So over the moon.
That was before Edward Lear, so it wasn't him, no.
16th century to mean happy, extremely happy, excited. Okay, we're getting close to the top of the hour. We still got
used to
2 or
teach-
3 minutes, so we do need
I used to love teaching poetry,
think
but
about it.
words have changed. And I found out the hard way because without thinking about it, I started teaching one class about the owl and the pussycat.
Okay.
But the word pussy has changed a lot now. So when we got to the part where he goes, oh pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are," the sniggering in the class
Yes, I know.
taught me that I had taken a wrong turn. Yes, unfortunately. When I was a young man, there was nothing funny about that. It was just a pussycat.
Okay.
What are you going to say about we're getting to the end of the thing?
Well, I've got. We
I
still
sent
got
you a link,
3
by
or
the
4
way.
minutes.
Have I?
Oh, right. What's that? The Uxbridge.
That's
English
where I stole
Dictionary.
those. That's the link from where I stole those puns and jokes, and this is about 20 minutes of pure fun, and I think our audience might really enjoy
Share
listening
that
to
with
this.
the audience with the blurb. Yeah, have a look at the blurb at this episode, and you'll certainly see that. Okay, I got another one for you. It's all gone pear-shaped.
Yeah. It's all gone wrong. It's all started off well formed and everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately now it's all gone pear shaped, yes.
Okay, so which one of these do you believe this stems from? Aviation. That it's British Air Force when pilots performed aerobatic manoeuvres for precise symmetrical shapes, and they didn't. They were executed poorly, resulting in a shape more like a pear rather than a circle. So it's gone pear-shaped. Or is it baking, where you're making a cake or a pudding and you're hoping for a round symmetrical shape? Unfortunately, it didn't turn out quite as expected and a bit lopsided, so it was pear-shaped. Or is it where you've got a general shape where you're looking for something round and it's a generic term, but it didn't come round because you're making something, you're baking something, you're cutting something, and it didn't come out circular. Instead, it's something different from circular, so it's pear-shaped. Which
I
one
think I
is
go
it?
with the Air Force.
Strange, but it's unknown.
We
They don't actually know.
Why do you think it's strange? Why do you think it's strange? I don't think it's strange.
They don't know where that one actually is attributed to. They know that it means something's gone wrong, but they don't know from where it actually originated from. Popular theory is the aviation, but they don't know for sure. So they do believe more likely cooking, where you're trying to get a round shape and it didn't come out. But the aviation one sounds quite good anyway. Right.
We're talking about that. Do you remember when I was talking about bollocks and I said, no, sorry, not bollocks, I beg your pardon. I was talking about naff off and how it was posh.
Yeah.
Do you know where the word posh itself supposedly comes from?
Well, isn't that from boats?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what port out,
Well,
starboard home or
when people were traveling from the UK to India, the richer people could afford the best side of the ship to get accommodation on the best side of the ship, which was generally reckoned to be port side, which is port to the left, right, on the left hand side of the ship, whilst the ship was traveling to India, and then starboard side, which is on the right, when the ship was coming back returning to the UK. So you always saw land rather than you always saw nothing but endless sea. If there was land anywhere inside, you'd see it. And so it was port out, PO, starboard home, SH, POSH. So there were the posh people who could afford it.
Okay. Right, I'm mindful of the time. I'll have to wrap up. I've got one small one, quick one. Bite the bullet. Where's that come from?
Oh, that's
What does it
military. That's
mean,
on the
first
warships,
off?
and that's on the warships. That's when they're going to hack off a bit, one of your bits, and to stop it from biting your tongue. I think they give you a bullet to chomp
Yeah,
down on instead.
absolutely. It's basically bite the bullet is you enduring pain in some degree, a difficult situation. You need to act with courage. So when you're facing a challenging situation, you bite the bullet and act anyway. But you're exactly right. The real term came from when they had lack of anaesthetic. They had to cut a bullet hole out. They would put a bullet in the mouth, as you say, to stop them screaming, biting the tongue, doing all sorts of things. So they had to clench their teeth on a bullet. And it's commonly used if you don't have a bullet, a broom handle or any implement that you can bite on to not chomp your tongue off in terms of screaming and shouting, etc.
I believe that it has changed since the 40s when you had those hard-boiled detective stories with hard-boiled characters. I believe it has changed to bite the bullet. And people like Mickey Spillane, people like that, authors like that, I believe they changed it in America, and bite the bullet actually means to catch a bullet, to die.
To die,
So,
they bite the bullet and they're dead.
To bite the bullet,
yes.
they're dead, yes.
Absolutely. So it has got double meaning.
Yes.
The UK one is bite the bullet and try something, encourage. But yeah, you're right. The American interpretation is slightly different. It's to die. Indeed. Right. Unfortunately, we've got to the end of the show. So if you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexpected twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tyre. We are the TNT Talk Show. But unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.